Trump's tariffs are back, and they're causing a storm in the markets. Some say these tariffs are reckless and could push the US into a recession. Others argue they are a smart move to bring jobs back to America. But what's really happening? In this video, we'll break down the three major perspectives on Trump's new trade policy. MSNBC's view. Tariffs are fueling economic uncertainty and could trigger a recession. 2. Fox News perspective. Trump is playing a strategic long game to reshape trade and strengthen American manufacturing. 3. CBC News Take. Canada is pushing back, and internal conflicts in Trump's team are adding to the instability. We'll hear expert opinions from 1. Jan Hatzius, Chief Economist, Goldman Sachs. Why recession fears are growing. 2. Peter Navarro, Trump's trade advisor. Why tariffs could benefit U.S. workers. 3. Carlo Dade, Director, University of Calgary. Why Trump's economic team is divided on this issue. Stay tuned to get the full picture of what's happening and how it could affect you. What happened? Let's start with the facts. Trump initially threatened to double tariffs on Canadian steel and aluminum from 25% to 50%. In response, Ontario Premier Doug Ford announced a 25% surcharge on electricity exports to Michigan, New York, and Minnesota. 3. After negotiations, both sides backed down. Trump halted the 50% tariff, and Ford suspended the electricity surcharge. 4. But despite this temporary de-escalation, markets are reacting, and the long-term impact is still uncertain. MSNBC's perspective. Market panic and recession warnings. MSNBC warns that these tariffs are fueling economic uncertainty and could push the U.S. into a recession. Goldman Sachs and J.P. Morgan analysts raised their recession forecasts. J.P. Morgan increased its recession prediction from 30% to 40%, citing extreme U.S. policy. Goldman Sachs raised its recession odds to 20%, warning of a drop in investor confidence. Markets are already reacting negatively. The S&P 500 lost $4 trillion in value in recent days. Major companies like Delta Airlines and Kohl's are cutting earnings forecasts, signaling weaker consumer spending. Jan Hatzius, Chief Economist at Goldman Sachs, stated, "This level of unpredictability in trade policy could lead to slower economic growth and a loss of corporate confidence." MSNBC's takeaway: tariffs are unnecessary economic disruption. The stock market instability could lead to real economic damage. Fox News' view: is this a smart trade strategy? Meanwhile, Fox News presents a different perspective, arguing that Trump's tariffs are part of a broader economic strategy. Trump's trade advisor, Peter Navarro, defended the tariffs, stating, "Canada has been dumping cheap steel and aluminum into the U.S., hurting American workers. Tariffs are necessary to protect our industries." Trump himself explained his approach, saying, "The biggest win isn't tariffs. The biggest win is if companies move production here and create American jobs." Fox News suggests that while markets may react negatively in the short term, the long-term goal is to bring back U.S. manufacturing. Fox's takeaway: short-term market pain is worth it for long-term economic stability. Trump is using tariffs as leverage to negotiate better trade deals. CBC's perspective: Canada's strategy and Trump's internal conflict. CBC focuses on Canada's response and the growing internal conflicts in Trump's trade policy. Ontario Premier Doug Ford strategically played the electricity tariff threat. This only impacted 0.1% of Ontario's economy, but was critical for U.S. states like Michigan and New York. Ford successfully forced Trump's administration to engage in negotiations. Trade expert Carlo Dade, University of Calgary, argues that Trump's tariffs don't fully align with the America First movement. Some hardliners wanted to force auto manufacturing jobs back to the US at any cost. Others in Trump's team, particularly those with Wall Street ties, worried about economic fallout. By walking back the 50% tariff, Trump may have disappointed both sides. CBC's takeaway: 1. Trump's trade strategy is inconsistent, creating uncertainty. 2. Ford's move was a tactical win for Canada, but tensions aren't over yet. So who comes out on top? Winners: 1. Steel and aluminum producers in the US, domestic suppliers, benefit from tariffs. 2. Doug Ford, Ontario Premier, secured a meeting with the White House and gained negotiation leverage. Losers: 1. Stock market investors. Extreme volatility wiped billions in value. 2. US businesses importing steel and aluminum. Higher costs will be passed to consumers. 3. Trump's economic base. Some believe he backed down too soon. So what happens now? 1. Ford meets with US officials Thursday. Canada could push back harder. 2. Trump might raise tariffs further. He's hinted at going beyond 25%. 3. Markets remain volatile. Investors should prepare for more uncertainty. Now we want to hear from you. Do you think Trump's tariffs are a smart move or a mistake? Drop a comment below. Subscribe for more real-time updates on finance, investing, and global trade.